What is history? How important are dates? Which dates are important? How do we periodize? Well, if you want to know the answers to these questions, please follow me to the chapter. So, hi everyone. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about how, when, and where. So, students complain that they find history boring and it is synonymous with dates. They say, why do we need to learn when was Akbar born? When was this battle fought? When did they started a war? So, is history all about memorizing dates? The answer is no, absolutely not. History is not just about memorizing dates, there is much more to it. So, history is about the changes that occur over a period of time. It is about finding out what things were in the past and how things have changed now. So, we are simply refer to before and after effects. For example, we can't find a year when did man started drinking tea or when did man started playing cricket. Okay, we can't say that on this one fine day man started playing cricket or from this day onwards man started drinking tea. Why? Because these are changes or processes that have happened over a period of time. We cannot specify just one date for it. It is a duration, it is a period of time. Okay? So, why do we still continue to associate history with a string of dates? This is because there was a time when historians had an account of battles and big events. It was about the rulers and the policies. So remember, the historians used to write about the king, how was he crowned, when was he crowned, in which year did he get married, in which year did he have a child, so on and so forth. So for these events, there is a requirement of specific dates, right? But now changed, as you have already seen in class 6th and class 7th, that now history textbooks of the past have write about other issues as well, such as how the people earned livelihood, what they produced, what they ate, and how cities developed, how markets came up, how society was formed. Hence, history is about such changes now and not just about dates. I hope this is clear to you now. So, how do we periodize? So, in 1817, there was a Scottish economist and political philosopher named James Mill. What did he do? In his work, he divided the history of India into three periods: Hindu period, Muslim period, and British period. Now, what is the need to divide history into different periods? Because so that we can see the central features of each period. Okay, so these terms through which we periodize demarcate the difference between periods, and that is they reflect our ideas about the past. Okay, so we need to divide it into periods so that certain features can be seen about different periods and they are distinct from the other period. Okay, now Mill in his work wrote that Indian society, Asian societies and Indian society in particular was at a lower level of civilization than the European society, and thus he said that Hindu and Muslim despots ruled the country before the Britishers came. Okay, there was religious intolerance, there was caste taboos, superstition practices, etc., that dominated Indian society, and the Britishers they came to civilize Indians, and to civilize Indians was through conquering all the territories of India. Now, do you think this was correct? Do you think the whole idea of dividing the history on the basis of religion was okay? Well, it was not like that during the Hindu period only Hindus existed, or during the Muslim period only Muslims existed and no Hindus existed during that time, or during the British period there were no Hindus or Muslims. So I think this system is a little bit faulty. Now, another classification that the Britishers have divided Indian history into is ancient, medieval and modern that most of us usually um, come across. So this system too has problem. How come? Because it is a system which is borrowed from the West. The modern society is supposed to be linked with science, technology, reason, liberty, equality, fraternity. But do you think this modern time during the Britishers was related to any liberty, equality, or fraternity in the Indian context? Absolutely not. Also, the medieval term used here to describe a society where these features of the modern society did not exist. Do you think so? Were not there any scientific developments during this period in India? Hence, this system dividing India into ancient, medieval, and modern is also faulty. Hence, some of the historians refer to the modern period as the colonial period. Now, what is this colonial period? Colonial period refers to a time whereby the territory is ruled by colonial masters. Now these colonial masters, they control over the economy, the society, and they collected revenue to meet the expenses. Also they bought goods at lower prices and then they sold it for a good price. So the colonization is when the subjugation of one country by another country leads to the kind of political, economic, social, and cultural changes. Then we refer that process as colonization. So, what is colonization? When the changes are brought in the values and taste of people, when the changes are brought in the customs of and the practices of the people, when the country subjugates to them. Okay, so all these changes that develop during the subjugation period is called colonization. Now, how do we know about all of these? How do we know that we were colonized? How do we know what works were done by various governor generals, and what were the developments that took place during that time? So we know about all of these through official records. Through official records. Now these official records were by the Britishers. Okay, so what did they thought that every instruction, plan, every policy, every agreement, every investigation needs to be written up, and once they were written up they could be then studied and debated. They also felt that all the important documents and letters should be preserved, and hence what did they do? They preserved the official documents in places such as the Tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the secretariat, the law courts, etc. So this was a good step, we can say, that was took up by the Britishers, that they recorded everything and they preserved those records. Now these records, when they are preserved, they are called archives. What are they known as? They are known as archives. Okay. Okay, so now before early years of 19th century, when there was no printing press, then these records were beautifully written out by calligraphists. Calligraphists are the ones who have a very nice handwriting, and they record the and they do the records. Okay, and then by the middle of the 19th century the printing press came. Now the printing press made the work easier, and then multiple copies of these records could be taken out. Okay, so now how are surveys important? Another important step that the Britishers took was surveys. Now what are these surveys? The Britishers believed that a country had to be properly known before they could be effectively administered. They said that they need to know their country, know the country which they are ruling before they can rule. Okay, so now various surveys were taken up in villages, various revenue surveys were taken up, soil, topography, flora, fauna, jungles, or cropping pattern. In fact, the census also came from during that time, and then it was held after every 10 years. Okay, so these were the surveys that took place during that time, since the Britishers believed that a country need to be properly known before they could administer that. So this is an example. This is a picture of a custard apple, a plant in 1700s. Botanical garden and natural history museums established by the Britishers collected the plant specimen and information about the uses. Okay, so such things were plainly done by the Britishers, which were good. But do you think they recorded everything in these archives, in these official documents? Did they tell us everything that they do? Absolutely not. They did not tell the things from the perspective of Indians. Okay, they were purely on the basis of Britishers and what they were interested in and what they wished to preserve for their own prosperity. It's not like everything they did was for the development of the country, for the colonial country. Okay, so this was not from the perspective of the tribals, the poor, how they feel, how they lived, how they felt, how they lived, both the workers in the mine, the poor on the street. So this is reading these records or studying these records does not tell us about this plight of the Indians. So it is a little bit difficult task to completely know about the changes that happened during the colonial period. With this, we have come to an end of this chapter. Thank you.